Esophagus.
Now say it again.
Esophagus. What's up, everybody? I'm live on BellaNaija.
How are you feeling right now in one word?
Blessed.
Blessed.
Yeah.
Okay, should we call you, for this interview, should we call you Odogwu Pararan or should we call you Uzor? Which one?
Uzor, please.
Okay, Uzor. So you've got almost every lady on social media praying for their own Odogwu Pararan. First is first, how does being praised this much make you feel?
How does it make me feel being praised? People that know me know that I don't do well with a lot of praises. I just like, it's a little overwhelming for me. But I think mostly it's very humbling. It's there's a lot of humility that comes from everything that is happening. And I'm just grateful to God. I never thought that it would be a movie on you. I mean, like, if I were to choose, I would have chosen a cinema film. But I mean, it happened that it's Omoni Oboli's Love Is Not Enough. Love in every word, rather. Love in every word that has done it. And I'm just grateful. I'm here for it.
Interesting. We loved your role. Absolutely. We loved Obiora in Love in Every Word. What drew you to that character?
What drew me? I don't know if I was drawn to it. So I got the script. I was supposed to have worked on Money during the first films that she wanted to put on her channel, but it never really happened. I can't remember why exactly, but this time it worked, and it was Mr. M that sealed the deal. And he just told me that he saw the script, he thought I would like it, and I should take a look at it. So I read it, and it was a little different from every other thing that I had done. Now, I've played a lot of Igbo characters, but this one was a little different. And so I just said, okay, I'll jump on it. And then I hadn't worked with Bamike. I hadn't worked with Bam before. So I was like, okay, let's see how this works. But I think, if I remember correctly, I think Bam had to move a gig, to be at, because she wasn't actually available at the time when Omoni wanted us to do this film. But so she had to move, I had to move, and yeah, but I enjoyed it. I read it, I was ready for it, and I just gave it my best shot.
Interesting. So let's talk about Twitter. You had like 3 days of fun responding to comments with memes, with dances. Yeah. You will soon become the meme lord. Very soon, But you read tweets because I followed the conversation, and it felt like you were replying almost everyone.
I tried to.
So what was that most shocking tweet that you read?
I think it would be the one where the guy said that, the guy who was a little insulting, where he said that I was a disgrace to the Igbo people, and that I was a useful idiot, who goes ahead to propagate this, that no Igbo man talks the way I talk and all of that. First of all, there's what they call poetic license. As an artist, I have the right to create as much as it is. I'm going to try to create it because it's film. I'm going to try to create it to be the closest to human form, closest to human nature. But I feel like as an artist, I have the right to express, and I didn't see the right. So that was the tweet that really got me. I tried my best not to respond because my people were like, no, don't say anything. I was like, no, because the average Igbo man is a good man. Like, there are bad people from every tribe, but the average Igbo man puts his woman first. He tries to make sure that, because there's a saying which I'm not very good at. There's a saying in Igbo culture that says, when you want to know how good or how rich a man is, look at his wife. And that's it. So I did my own characterization as an artist. I had my own backstory. I created my own backstory, and but that tweet, to answer your question, that tweet actually got to me. And then people now doing the whole Achalugo, I'm broke, or Achalugo. They just have made a mess of the entire thing. But it was interesting to see. I haven't had that in my entire career, but seeing that was fun.
Yeah, Odogwu, we are broke,
That was good.
Okay, let's still talk about Twitter and the conversations around love in every word.
Yeah.
So it sparked a new discussion about masculinity and relationships, and people used words like simp.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to mention that.
I was going to, but I tried not to.
Yes, they said,
Yeah.
oh, you know.
Yes, and men who take care of their women are like simps.
They're like simps
yeah.
and stuff like that. What's your opinion on that?
I mean, like, why do I have to be called a simp because I'm taking care of my woman? You know, like, why am I simping, if there's any word like that, just because I'm in love with a woman and I'm taking care of her? I feel that if you decide not to take care of your woman, it's on you. But a lot of men, and I believe that I speak for a lot of men who are not toxic, that giving is part of love. You know, giving is part of romance. Giving is part of affection. It's a love language, you know, and if that's the language my babe or my wife speaks, why not? I would speak it very loud and clear. If I have to use my money or my wealth to make my wife comfortable and make her feel and see that she sees that she's appreciated and all of that, then I would do it. I don't think simping or taking care of my woman is simping. There's a lot of toxic masculinity that has been fed to a lot of people in the generations that we are. There's a lot of toxic masculinity that has been going out. A lot of misogynistic people are speaking up and they feel that their points have to be taken as opposed to what it's supposed to be. But it doesn't mean that because you have a voice doesn't mean that you have to speak every time. So, and then it doesn't mean that what you even say is right. I just went with the notion, the way I understood the character was the way I executed it, the way I performed it. He had a lot of backstory and not something, I created a backstory for him. So it's something that a lot of the audience would not see, but there was a reason why he was behaving the way he was behaving. So calling me a simp is a little extreme. These are people who most probably would not be able to speak to me when they see me in real life. And even if they did, we'll dig it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree.
If I get angry.
Okay, let's still talk about, you know, the Odogwu Pararan, the Obiora character.
Yeah.
And we noticed that you brought elements of Uzor into the movie, like you know, you mentioned that it was not in the script, and then you just had to. Is it ad-libbing?
Ad-libbing,
It's
or
called
improv, whatever, whichever one.
Yes, so let's talk about Obiora and Uzor. Okay. Where are the similarities? What part of yourself was actually in that character?
Okay, so as a rule of thumb, as an artist, a performing artist, I mean, like, there is no way I'm going to perform a character without elements of me sleeping into some of those characters, because this is the only vessel that I have. This is the only instrument that I have. So it is my experiences that I would use to tell the story as much as I'm trying to become somebody else. Uzor and Obiora are very different people. There are similarities here and there, like every other character I've played, but they are very different people. But there's no way that some of my Uzor's personal experiences would not have gone in, or, you know. So yes, for one, Uzor is not a billionaire.
Are you sure about that? Is this humility speaking? But I don't want us to bill him.
So for one, Uzor is not a billionaire. I don't speak, my Igbo is not as fluent as Obiora made it feel. I'm a little bit more educated than Obiora. I have 3 degrees, as I always said. So yeah, there was a little, but I mean, I understand expression of love. I understand that as a human being, as Uzor, I understand love. I understand expression of love, and I just try to make it work. You know, I just try to make sure that, you know, it's as authentic. I feel like as an actor, if I'm ever performing and people can tell that I'm performing, I've failed as an actor. You know, I hate when people know that I'm acting. So that is where I try to drown Uzor and make it as authentic, as honest as possible. And a lot of the masters, you know, the teachers of acting, who from Stella Adler to Meisner to Ion Hagen, you know, a lot of people that have listened and studied, they believe that acting is acting imaginative under imaginative circumstances, you know, being honest under imaginative circumstances. So I just try to do that. And that's why that scene where he had to buy the house to get her number. I don't know if, you know, it was a little exaggerated. I don't know anybody who would do that. But the backstory to that was that he's a businessman. Now, he didn't set out to buy the house or to buy the building because he wanted her number. It was a building that he was going to buy anyway. But it happened that her office was in the building that he had already bought. Right? So people don't see that. I can't explain that, but it was in the backstory. That was why he didn't really focus on the building. He focused on the number, you know. So, but the reason he had the guts to come with the Ogene people was because it's his building, right? So, but he wasn't going to focus on one of the buildings that he bought, one of the businesses or, you know, investment that he's done, because it just happened that the girl that he liked was in the building. He didn't buy it because of her. He bought it because he was already going to buy it anyway. Do you understand? But yeah, so but I don't know if Uzor can do that. But yeah, it was a good move. It was I felt good. It was a good feeling.
Yeah, it was, and thank you for that explanation, because as much as I enjoyed the movie, I was like, who buys a building because of a phone number?
It wasn't. He didn't buy it. He didn't buy it because of her. He didn't buy it because of the number. He bought it because it was in the line of his business. It was an investment he was going to make anyway. It just happened that her office, you know, was in the building, and he was like, "Oh, okay, so I can go with my Ogene people to go and make noise. It's my building, so why not?" So,
what a perfect coincidence, by the way. Now let's move away from love in every word and talk about you. So someone described you as, and I quote, a sweet balance of confidence and humility. This is in the comments of your interview with Chudi.
Yeah,
and I found that very fascinating, because after I read that comment, I went back to watch the interview, and I'm like, actually, this is a sweet blend of humility and confidence. And we saw that in Love in Everyone. So I said I won't mention it, right? But I also see that on social apps like Twitter, the way you relate with everybody using memes, the way you laugh, and it's just like really pretty interesting to see, right? So beyond Love in Every Word, I've asked this question before, but I'm asking it again. What elements of Uzor, right, do we see in other movies, like the Tribe Called Judah, for instance?
I'm so blessed. First of all, I would say, because it's the last thing you said, I feel so blessed to be part of that movie, A Tribe Called Judah. Like a lot of my colleagues would say, Funke is blessed. She's one artist, producer, director that everybody wants to work with, and I was so blessed to be able for her to have taken a chance on me and taken me on. Now, to answer your question about me, like I said, this is the only vessel that I have, and as a human being who is an artist, I try to get as many experiences. I actually go out to get experiences. Some people call it adventures, you know, but I like to experience a lot of things so that I have an idea, I have an arsenal, I have a reservoir of emotions and reactions and experiences that I can feed off from, I can pull out or pull up when I need them. They're like files stored in different compartments in my head, you know. And yes, I feel like that's one of the greatest compliments that anybody has given me, a balance of confidence and humility. And I feel like that's what I don't know if every man, but I feel like I'm a Sigma male. A lot of people call me Sigma male. I'm not alpha. I know I'm not alpha in any way. I'm a Sigma male. And I just like the blend of confidence and humility. I have a friend, well, not a friend. She's not a friend, but there's someone who's regularly on my page, and she says, in her own words, I don't know if I put it correctly, she says I'm a mixture or a blend of fire and ice. You know, fire and ice, hot and cold, you know, like best of both worlds, you know. And I feel like that's one of the best compliments I've received as a human being, you know. So yeah.
Love it. I really love it for you, right? Because I also agree with these people. Now let's talking about the Tribe Called Judah. I watched you in the Tribe Called Judah.
Thank you.
I watched you in Sugar Rush.
Oh, okay.
Now you are what I am going to call a comical villain.
Okay.
Right? Particularly because of the roles that you played in this movie. Especially in the Tribe Called Judah. Like you were really funny, but you were almost wicked also.
I was. The character was a mean character.
Yeah, but mean in a comical way. You know, so how do you prepare for roles like this where wickedness is masked in comedy?
So it's not like I don't set out to be funny. but I know that I have a lot of humor on my inside. I'm not, so growing up, I wasn't a very serious person. It was, adulthood made me serious because of when life hit me, I had to become serious. But I have a lot of humor on my inside. And then sometimes I feel like comedy or bringing a bit of comic into life is it's how life is. Even some of the darkest people, some of the people that we've heard are the meanest people, still laugh. They still try to be funny once in a while. They don't walk around with a scowl on their face, just frowning, They still are humans. The greatest villains have a reason why they are villains. They want to change the world. They feel like somebody is sabotaging the world. So there's always this, it's for the greater good. And that is what drives them to want to blow up a place, bomb this place or do something here. So these are human beings who actually have families. Like when you watch some of the best or greatest villains, you see them come home to their kids and their family, and the kids run to them and they are carrying them. Like, they are human beings, but there's something that propels them to becoming this, and they don't set out to be bad. They just believe that I'm doing this. This is what God has said I should do. It's for the greater good. And so they're human beings. And I feel like human beings have a bit of comedy, a bit of humor, have a sense of humor. I don't set out, I'm not saying that, oh, I'm going to be funny here and here. But when I'm doing the scene, I feel the comedy, I feel the comic, I feel the humor, and I just let it out. I try not to hold back. I mean, films like Criminal, the film that I did that was done by Anthill, Ni Akimolawa and his great team. I hope I pronounced his surname right. Babadunu Ni. I don't think that I don't think that the character that I played, his name was Uzor, funny. His name was also Uzor. Uzor was a very mean character. I don't think that I couldn't find the humor in between. I think there were places that people could still laugh, but personally, I didn't set out to be funny. Tribe Called Judah, I didn't set out. Bank Alerts, OK Bakasi's film that I did with Film One, I played a villain as well. There were scenes that people laughed, but I don't know that I set out to make it funny. It's just that that's the most honest thing I can most possibly. And I'm saying this thing because I'm in the moment, that you're stressing me out. I remember the scene in Bank Alert where I said, you're stressing me out. This of me, you have to go and look for something. I have to sip on my juice or something. And then people laughed about it. People giggled. But it wasn't like, I didn't say because I wanted you to laugh. That was my truth at the time. So there are similarities. And like I said, this is the only vessel that I have. I was inspired by people like Jamie Foxx. Some people think he's not one of the greatest actors. In my books, I think he's a really talented guy. Will Smith, I think he's very talented. A lot of people, there's a bit of humor when these people perform, and I like it because I mean, why the long face? Even L. Jackson has a bit of humor when he talks, and these are people that I look up to. Mostly not just because they are blacks, and I have white mentors as well, but I learned more from them because they're closer to home. So yeah.
And I'll say you do a fantastic job.
Thank you.
In
Thank
the
you.
Tribe Called Judah. I almost entered the television to to fight. But at the same time, I was laughing because it was really, really funny.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you moving from corporate to the creative industry.
Yeah.
I watched that on the interview with Chude, and from your journey, obviously it wasn't easy.
No, it wasn't.
Moving from certainty to uncertainty, like it's very difficult.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask now, based on your experience and your journey, how would you advise people who want to make this transition?
No, to be honest, I don't know what sort of advice I'm supposed to give, because you don't advise someone to leave his job. I didn't leave my job willingly. There were incidents that happened. In fact, I was fired from a Tesla. I said that before. So I feel like sometimes, not sometimes, in my life, I'm speaking for myself now, there's a strong presence of divinity in my life. I believe in God. I believe strongly and totally. I don't look it. I get that a lot of times. I don't look it. I might not sound it. I might not, but I've always been a church boy. I've always been a God's child. I've always been God's child. And so I feel that God uprooted me. He yanked me off because he had been giving me the signs, and I just was reluctant to leave. So I feel like there was a need for him to remove me from where I was. And so that's why I'm saying that I don't know that you have to, that I can advise you to leave or, stop. I can't advise you to leave, but I can tell you that you have to know God for yourself. I was even adamant a lot of times. A lot of things that have happened in my life, I've been adamant about it. Like God would tell me and I would argue. And I would most probably still stay. And then most time, maybe because of the relationship I have with him, he would literally yank me and say, which kind of picking be this, And that was what happened in my life. And I don't know. I can't advise you to leave. I know I've said that a million times.
Yeah, let me rephrase that question.
Okay.
Yeah. Give you a little bit of context.
Okay.
You know the way the economy is?
Yeah.
An average graduate, when you leave university, you have to get a job fast so that you have a certain source of income. If not, hunger will finish you.
Of course, 100%.
Right? Unfortunately, a lot of people get stuck in that job and they don't really have that time to explore the creative sides of them. And before you know, time has wings. It's 5 years, it's 10 years, and you don't have that sense of fulfillment. So for people who really want to be in the creative industry, but are still afraid in the corporate space and are afraid to make that leap, right? What's that one advice you're going to give them?
Make the move. Make the move. That's it. One of the strongest pieces of advice I got from someone was, whatever you do on the side keeps you on the sidelines. And it's been on my mind since I heard that. Whatever you do on the side keeps you on the sidelines. Because at the time I was in corporate and I was still going for auditions. I was still trying to hustle my way into the acting thing. And then it looked like it was my my hobby. It was a small business I was trying to start on the side. And he said to me, whatever you do on the side keeps you on the sidelines. You never really are a major player. You're not a key player. You never really get to experience what professionals who do it full time would experience. So I would say just do you. You know what God has. And you see, everybody has a ministry. And I knew my ministry. Luckily, I prayed about it and God told me that this is what I was supposed to be doing. As a teenager, I already knew that it was what I was supposed to be doing. And I tried. Truly and honestly, yes, Nigeria will humble you because I came out with all my degrees, almost more than a thermometer. And and I had to get a corporate job, especially because of my parents. I was the first son, first child. So I had to do that to be able to get some sort of balance, financial independence and all of that. But there was a burning and a yearning of purpose on my inside that I wanted to be what God had called me to do. And I had to just do it. It wasn't easy. Like I said, God had to remove me from that place. So I feel like we don't have to wait for God to remove us, but you have to make. And then there is a place of honing your craft. There's a place of getting better at what you do. You can't come to spar with people who have been doing this for a long time and you're coming half-baked, not ready, mediocre. You can't. You have to. So I act every chance that I had. I acted from primary school to secondary school to university to church. I did stage plays, thousands of stage plays. I was trained by some of the best theater people, so I never stopped flexing and working my acting muscles. I never stopped till tomorrow. I never stopped exercising my acting muscles. So I feel like anybody who, and I'm not just talking about drama or performance, musicians, stand-up comedians, vocalists, instrumentalists, just keep working, keep rehearsing. I think, by the time you're ready, the world will be ready for you to be your stage, to be your platform.
Yeah, totally agree with you. So now on a lighter note, we are wrapping up slowly.
Okay.
We're going back to loving everyone.
Yeah, it's
Apologies.
fine. No, please, it's fine.
What is the correct pronunciation of what you called esophagus?
It's esophagus. I hope I got that right. I have a lot of English teachers online. I follow a lot because, as artists, we have to also enunciate properly. We have to be able to pronounce properly. And so I hope I'm not falling your hands.
You have to say it again. Let us hear.
Esophagus.
Now say it again.
Esophagus.
Now complete the following sentence.
Okay.
A dash for sore eyes.
A sight for sore eyes. It's not a flight for sore eyes. It's a sight for sore eyes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much
for having this conversation.
Thank you so much.
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it so much.